Okay, I think that it says we're uploading. A couple of deep breaths. I think it says we're live. We're live. All right, welcome. This is a live coaching session with Colleen, and I want to thank you for volunteering to bring this topic of money tangles. I'm going to do just a little, not an intro, but kind of some disclaimers since you and I have never actually worked in this way together before. I do know you from other sources. We're going to go about an hour. If we finish beforehand, we finish beforehand. And then you and I have both agreed that if it needs to go longer, we're going to trust the flow more than we are rigid with the clock. My name is Allison Crow, and I am a life and business coach. Those words just don't ever do enough justice. And Colleen is a newer coach getting her certification. I'll let you introduce yourself and then we'll dive in. But today I want to just kind of let you know some of the ways that I work since we haven't worked before. Anything I say, any question I ask, statement I make is only ever an invitation. It is never a demand. You may accept, modify, or reject. What's most important to me is you trust yourself. And in my coaching, sometimes I integrate teaching or ideas. They are not the absolute. They're just from my experience and an invitation to you. If I interrupt you, it's because I think it's important, not because I think you're boring or wrong. It's because it's in service of the conversation. If you don't feel like answering, even mid-answer, feel free to stop and say, I'm not comfortable, or I'd like to change directions, or can we pause? I won't pause the recording, but we can, you have autonomy in this, okay?
Okay.
And unless you do, I'm going to assume everything is a-okay. So,
Sounds great.
Perfect. All right. So, would you like to introduce yourself and then bring a little bit about what you want to talk to today?
Yeah. So I'm Colleen. I'm an expat, or I guess even words. I'm an immigrant, right? I live in Australia as an American. I'm only here for another year before we move to Europe. I was a rep mom. I am a rep mom, but my daughter passed away 4 years ago. So I spent the majority of my time as a caregiver and running a small nonprofit that was specifically in support of that community. And I really like German Shepherds.
That dog stuff is really important.
It is.
I love it. I love it. So let's take just a couple of breaths together. This is nothing woo-woo or weird, but it's just in service of the container of this call and in service of you centering yourself and me centering myself. So just taking a deep breath or two at a pace that feels comfortable to you. And whenever you're ready, we can start.
All right.
Perfect. All right. What is on your heart or mind? What are these tangles that you speak of?
So I have recently finished. I'm trying to figure out what to do with myself, right? So I was a caregiver. That was really clear. And then when my daughter died, I lost my job. And so but like I couldn't deal with that because I had to deal with losing my daughter. And that took about 4 years. And I, very privileged that due to my husband's work, I was able to just take the time that I needed. And I haven't been thinking about working or career. I'm in the process of closing my nonprofit. hard to recognize that I was doing work that was so against my skill sets. Like I prioritized meeting a need over doing what I wanted. Because what I wanted was support for Rett families. Like that's my what drove me, and this is still what drives me.
Okay.
But I don't want to make this mistake again. So what drove me at the time that I started my foundation was I wanted to support. I saw these families struggling with these circumstances, and I thought, oh, I can do this thing, and then that'll alleviate some of their pain, and that'll make me feel better. But it was very admin based, and I should never be trusted with a spreadsheet. I just, or anything administrative is not my gifting. And here, this is what I was doing was just purely. And so now I'm like even struggling to close the business because I don't have the admin focus to even wrap it up.
Okay.
And then here I had last summer an opportunity to work with the community in a holding space in the form of, we called it the Caregiver Retreat Center. And that's, I think, something you helped me with. And that was so life-giving. I mean, I floated, even though I was exhausted, and I went to Colorado for 4 days. Who does that?
Yeah.
And it was just
what was life-giving about it? I want to kind of spiral down there.
The connection with the people.
Okay.
Like actually physically being with people. That's great. Also seeing them respond to what I had, and then seeing them, like when their shoulders go down, like seeing people fall asleep in my recliners. Like I saw tired caregivers in the middle of a conference take a 10-minute nap, and then leave refreshed, and that just like it was like this for my heart.
Did you feel like you were contributing, making a difference? What language would you put around that?
Like, knowing that I had this vision and that I was right. Like I thought that the tired caregivers needed to pause in the middle of this. This was the solution I always craved, right?
Okay, yeah.
And
so you had a solution and were able to deliver it.
Yeah, and that's part of why I liked coaching, because one of the things that made the biggest difference for me when I was living with Claire was coaching. I had somebody who was training as a coach and invested a lot in me, and it was one of the few things that helped. And so that, I think, is what drives me and motivates me to go forward. But it's tangled. I love that you use that word tangled.
Well, you used that word tangled. You used that. Yeah, you did. I went back and read the long email. Okay, so I'm going to slow you down for a second, okay? Because we could get into storytelling time, but do you have paper and stuff around you too?
Yeah, I do.
With you or something to take notes? Okay, just in case. Sometimes I may ask you to draw or write something just to kind of get it out of our heads and make it concrete. So just draw one circle or a box on on your left side that has to do with your heart. That said, like your passion, right? I can see and feel your passion for helping, for providing a service and solution. You don't have to write all that down, but just the passion for helping. Okay, and then on, just next to it, we're going to draw another circle, and that's the business. Making this a business, making this a job. Okay. Now just look at those two things and tell me what you notice in the idea of combining these two.
What's fascinating, the business circle I drew bigger, and I feel like I see it as like more overwhelming.
Okay.
Like I target fixate on it. And I like logically, I know that the passion for helping is like the bigger thing, but I drew it smaller
Okay.
on my.
What if the business that could be true, and I love the interpretation, and that's what feels true for you now? Like the business
Yeah.
is
Like,
overwhelming, and I made the other one smaller. Okay.
yeah.
It's so funny because I had no intention of bringing art into it, but art is always showing us, even doodles are showing us something.
Totally.
I would like to lay on the table a possibility, and this may be even a direction that if it feels yummy, we could go. I'm not saying it will feel easy, but like, oh, that could be nice. But what if the bigness of the circle is meant to contain and hold the passion in a supportive way?
Oh, for sure. And even the way I drew it, the one would fit in the other.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So if you were to think about, instead of business is scary, I don't do spreadsheets, I'm no good at admin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all beliefs that you've kind of taken on almost as, not almost, as identity.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things we're going to be talking about is we may not make the shift today, but just noticing where your desire and identities just could probably use a little compassion and care. And I know that the coaching that you got trained in is trauma informed, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
do believe this is way more than a mindset shift, but
Yep.
the mindset shift can be a guidepost for the I don't want to use the word healing on purpose because I think it's a process. Healing to me sometimes implies an event. And I think becoming new and adopting new ways of being in both mind and body takes time. This is not lightning strikes you and everything changes. Okay. Anything coming up for you, just check in.
Yeah. I just wrote down worthy.
Hmm.
And I feel like I have this, listening to you, I have this like developing awareness around, I think a big part of my struggle is kind of not feeling worthy. It's more of a issue of worthiness than capacity around the admin. Like that's almost
Okay.
like that's almost like my, not like false. That's like the
Mm-hmm.
first. Words are failing me.
It's okay. So, what sensations do you notice in your body when you bring up worthiness?
A queasiness in my stomach.
Okay, perfect. I want to invite you just to take a couple of breaths. Let the queasiness in your stomach be there. I like to say, like, oh, hello, queasiness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fascinating
Yeah.
to
It's very common. It's very common. Money is so interesting, right? Because money is loaded for so many of us. And the things we're taught about money.
yeah.
And so, yeah, just having compassion for that.
Well, and I think that there's a belief around, so I also have like a background growing up in a very evangelical
Oh,
situation,
yep.
which I stepped away from a few years
Mhm.
ago. Um, but there's this like real felt sense that meeting a call, like if somebody else needs something, then I can rise to that. But that there's like, it almost feels like some sort of like violation of the rules if I say I want to do this. And that's, I feel like what I'm trying to get to, but it feels wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is so interesting because you say it feels wrong versus I think it's wrong. I
Yeah.
want you to know. Okay, just notice the distinction. And since you and I haven't worked, a lot of times when I'm working with a client, like I know how I get to know if somebody is a head led person or a body led person or whatever. And I don't know what you are. You feel wrong. What do you think about making money coaching?
Like I know it's not wrong. Like
Okay. Yep.
yeah, like I can cognitively see how meeting my needs in a world where that uses money could make me a better coach. Like it could be part of this in a meaningful and in good way. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want you to take just a nice deep breath. And I appreciate you just acknowledging, right? This has been living in your body for a long time. And
Yeah.
cognitively, you're able to kind of like type in the new code, and that thinks really good.
Yeah.
But these are that thinks really good. I enjoy those thoughts. Those thoughts are pleasing to me. And what does the body below the neck do? What is
Yeah.
your body? Yeah, right.
I
Just
mean,
notice.
it feels like very yeah,
Right? Like it wants to like we are not.
like that like sense of like calm. There's a felt sense that I have when everything is in line, where I would say I
Yeah.
feel like wet sand, where it's like
Yeah.
porous but steady. And then
Mhm.
like it's like then this like water washes it all and it's all half water, half sand and very murky.
Okay. So let's go. If you're open to it,
Yeah.
let's go straight to some of the body parts. We don't have to go to all of them.
Yeah.
But I just want to acknowledge like this is so common. This is there's a bunch of different ways we can work with this. I feel very comfortable with this kind of like deep historical stuff. But what I'd like you to do is just kind of we've already known that the worthiness comes up in the queasiness. Then you just mentioned this like quicksand type. So do a scan and see where in your body a strong sensation around this is coming up. And I don't know why my screen went away. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
funny.
We'll fix that.
I definitely feel like a block right here.
Okay, in your neck.
Yeah, I feel like this black denseness and then like the queasiness in my stomach. But then like my feet feel strong. Like my feet are on the ground. My feet
Okay.
feel very like the murkiness of the water and the sand, it like stops at my stomach.
Okay. So, of those places in your throat, the murkiness and the queasiness, which of those three do you kind of have an intuition to move towards?
I think my throat. Like the
Okay.
queasiness in my stomach, I feel like I know about. And that's like old news. But the scary thing is this.
Yeah. What's coming up here, hun? Oh, sorry. I don't like to use pet names and I just did it. What's coming up, Colleen? Old
Um,
habits.
yeah, I know that I like like I can't talk. I've got a block here.
That's okay.
um, yeah, I think this is where I start to feel unsafe. Not in the conversation, but like with this, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um,
Well, it makes sense. The throat is the first stop. Like if we're going in a direction down into our body or from our head that is open and okay with these new ideas. And then we get to this is the front gate.
yeah, and it's also I know it's like connected to this like so like I'm in the middle of this like massive identity shift. I had a lot of um comfort in my identity as like this kind of hot mess special needs mom who was like still somehow thriving. um, in the midst of just like tremendous chaos. And I know I've shifted to being in this like state of calm that was very unfamiliar and quite overwhelming. And I think knowing how to work out of that feels really overwhelming.
Yeah. Because it's new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really new. And it's
Yeah.
so freaking weird to be 45 and working with new. Right? Like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm 19. Like I feel like I'm at like the like just going to college level of building life. And yeah, it feels awkward.
Yeah. Perfect. So awkward is allowed here. And we don't always have to fix awkward. But I'd like to invite you just to take a moment and go back to that space in your throat and just let it know. You don't have to say this out loud, but something in however you communicate with yourself internally. I'm going to use words as an example, and you can translate it, right? But like, oh, hello, throat. I get that you are here paying attention right now. I just want you to know I recognize you.
Okay.
Does your throat notice that you're here?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And how do you feel about having this block in your throat?
Um Embarrassed.
Hmm.
Like
Is
I
that
should
mm,
like I should be able to push through. Like I
yeah,
should like I'm judging.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Which even I say that and I'm like, you shouldn't. Like cognitively, I
Yeah,
realize the silliness of that. Like I would never put that on anyone else.
sure. So just to ask the part of you that is a little embarrassed and kind of judging, just acknowledge it and ask it just to take one step back. It's welcome to stay and witness what's going on. I'm going to ask you a slightly different question. How do you
Right.
feel toward this spot in your throat?
It's real fascinating because I feel like in the past, when I have noticed this sense, my
Mhm.
strategy has been like, well, like clear it.
Yeah.
Um, and to just push through. But as I face it like this, I see it as less of a problem. Like,
Mm.
okay, yeah, that is there.
That's a very welcoming shift of perception. You've
Mm-hmm.
clearly done a lot of work around this. Yeah. So give it some more of that energy of like, I know, just oh, it sounds I'm interpreting what you just said as it's kind of a neutrality. I notice you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that noticing, I wonder if you don't have to tell the story, but just make a little connection to some of your history and the things that you've been conditioned and trained to believe. And
Mm-hmm.
does that are you able to generate any compassion? Like, well, of course this is challenging. You were taught a lot of different things.
Yeah. And I think historically, when I do try to meet it with compassion, I get overwhelmed
Okay.
by the amount of like bullshit in the past.
Yeah.
But if I sit with my feet firm
Yeah.
and I if I start from there, it's easier to have the compassion without being overwhelmed by like the size of, sometimes I feel like I'm coming from a lot, or like more than I can overcome.
Those, this word just popped in my mind. I don't even know if it's the correct one, but those entrainments
Mm-hmm.
are thick. There's a girl on Threads I always see. She's an ADD girl. She's actually a PhD professor. And she often says, like, so I'm going to mess it up, but something like trauma is trained in the brain, but healing trauma trains the brain too. Right. And
Totally.
so, yeah, right. We have a lot of BS trained in there. And you're also on a experience, it doesn't matter what age you start, of retraining some things. So I wonder if you would just be kind of, I call this a system. So our system is our mind, body, spirit, and then in an IFS lens, all these parts, right? So we have this shame part, we have this throat part, we have this belly queasy part. I call, this is my little version, it's like a system all call. Like I'm on the intercom. I want all parts that want to hear. And so
Yeah.
just a gentle all call, acknowledging something along the lines like, I know things are different. I'm here, and we're going to be growing some new habits and thoughts and beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
and not all at once. Kind of like you're giving them an agenda, and see what happens, especially around your throat.
Yeah, it feels it doesn't, it feels invisible. Like my body feels really good, and I as you're mentioning that, it really kind of took me back to how I felt when I started my nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I was doing then either, but I had this drive based on my circumstances. And I feel like it helps to remember that I have done something like this before.
Mm-hmm.
But that this feels different because I'm doing it kind of like in a healthier, like that was like sort of unhinged. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's this like really like unhinged, um, big effort, like that started with a bam. And that's what that situation required. Um, and so I think maybe my tendency is to try to do that with this coaching situation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but that's not what this situation requires. So it's like similar but different. And I think maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
where the stickiness.
Yeah. So I want you to ask, especially this throat part, and the other parts are welcome to listen, but I want you to ask, what do they need from you going forward to feel safe? Trust me, what comes up.
I like the first thing is that like that to not go crazy again, like to like not do that, like that real big. I have this, right, like I moved internationally twice after Claire died.
Yeah,
you know, they are all like, can we please take baby steps?
that sounds legit.
Yeah, which but then like but my ego is like, um, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Ask them what's important about baby steps.
I think metabolizing it, like that we digest as we go. That like
Okay.
we finish one thing before we start the next, like something about that.
Right. And when you made those other moves, did you even consider these parts of you, or did you just step?
No, like I was just in survival and trying to stay
Yeah.
alive.
You And so you're aware now that these parts of you exist. You're aware now that there are little inner children and little, inner protectors and, parts of you that are and you've done a lot of work to like be aware, self-aware. And as we become self-aware, we also become parts aware, and we
Right.
give them little names like ego and, my queasy tummy. It's beautiful. And so one of the tools that I do highly recommend is personifying. Many years ago, I remember reading a book by Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese monk. And,
Yeah.
him, I can never find this in the book, but I swear it was in the book, Taming the Tiger Within. But I have looks so that I can make sure I got the quote correct. But I translate it, he said, their anger. I see you. I will not leave you. I am here for you.
Mhm.
And, in this book about anger, he wasn't like, oh, we have to get rid of anger. We have to shove it down. We don't have to that's what he said his solution was. And those words stuck with me. And to this day, they're a mantra. So it's their blank, right? Their throat.
Yeah.
Their queasiness. And whether you have words or sensations, right? That, to me, that's the language is a mantra in service of the first step that says, I notice you and I'm intentionally attuning with you.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and I can see how maybe these parts represent like nervousness or fear.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just things that I haven't let myself feel.
Yeah.
Like those are just, you know, wasn't safe enough with myself to let those things go forward.
Very
Um,
common. And we are
but
not
I think
taught to feel those things. Let me ask you this. When you
yeah,
were little and you
yeah,
felt a strong emotion, especially one that was considered negative, I don't consider them negative, but the kind of world does. What was the MO of your caregivers and religion around those difficult feelings?
there were no difficult feelings. There was only Christ. Like all I
Hmm.
had was the comfort of Jesus. You know what I mean? Like they didn't exist. Like all I had was just constantly seeking for the peace in the Lord.
Hmm. So you were never even given the opportunity to understand that you, as a miraculous human being, could create peace in your own self and care for these parts of you.
You know,
This
I
okay,
mean,
I'm acting like I'm so effing wise, but this is a huge I'm going to kind of step into a little teacher moment, and I want your parts to listen, because I know this
okay,
is just the beginning. We're not going to solve the world today. And I was in my 50s when I learned this. Okay. I do remember having a distinction between trust and faith. And for a long time, Allison, and the way I interpreted the world, and in a high demand religion, I was told, trust God, right? Same kind of thing. If there's a discomfort at home, it was stop that crying bullshit. All the emotions were too much. And at school, which I loved, it was don't feel bad, trust God.
mm-hmm.
And as an adult, I was able to recognize a distinction between faith, which I see as something kind of magical and spiritual, and no evidence to have faith, and
Right?
trust. Okay, you know how to tie your shoe. Do you trust that you know how to tie a shoe? And that if you had a
Yes,
tennis shoe on, you could pick up your tennis shoe and tie that tennis shoe while talking to me and not even have to look at it. Why do you
right.
trust that?
I've done it a million times.
You've done
Like
it.
I know I
You've
can
had
do that.
time on task. Okay,
Yeah.
so faith, having faith in a higher power, in God, in whatever, I'm all for.
Yep.
But when we have faith, there's an acknowledgement of we don't have all certainty. It's right. There is something kind of mystic, right? Okay. Trust is a scientific term.
Okay.
Okay. Trust requires time on task, like, right? Repetition. It requires evidence. Okay. That's why we say something like have faith in God. But many of us in that high demand religion trust God, seek this. Okay. That's part one of this little scientific thing. The second thing is, and when we are little and you have two children, one who is in the everywhere and one who is still alive and kicking, and when your youngest was little and she's able-bodied, you were able to potty train her, correct? Right? Like that's a natural part of development is potty training. It doesn't happen overnight, but they start to have the sensory experience of being in their diapers. They start to, at some point say, I need to go to the bathroom, right? Like that's a process. And there is a psychological function in the brain called interoception that it's right. So interoception is us learning how to when and where to go to the bathroom. And we're also taught in our system, like, okay, you need to go to the bathroom. You don't just go do it in the kitchen sink. You go to the restroom and here's how you use the commode, right? Like we're actually given some guidance. That same thing. Also, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, all these other things. Okay, so there's this physical aspect. There is another physical and psychological aspect of interoception that I have yet to meet a single person in my generation and above and below that was taught psychological interoception. Now, there are some people whose families gave it earlier and some people who just took it, but some of us, especially in that religion, which I was into, there's no space for it. And that is, so can you imagine having a struggle of, let's say, overwhelm and someone coming and saying, you come home from school or you go to school, mine was go to school, and you say like, I'm sad or I'm overwhelmed. And somebody said, oh, thank you for telling me. Let's talk to your body about sadness. Where is the sadness showing up in your body? Look at your face. It's like, what the hell? But think about it for a second.
I can't even imagine it.
I know, but I want you to right now.
Okay.
I know. I want you to think about your daughter. Listen, this is not fault. It's just a reason. It's just people didn't know this was available. Yeah. You've already done some of it in the coaching world because I can tell, like you have the word felt sense. I guarantee. For sure. No matter what, you did not learn that word before 30. I know you didn't. Right? It's kind of okay. Well, and thank God we have that distinction. Right? To know what a felt sense is. And listen, a lot of my people, you ask them a question and you say, how do you feel? And they tell you a thought. I struggle with that, right? Like I have to really slow down to go, what am I feeling? Because I'm always thinking it. And then it's like, oh no, what is the sensation like? So if you imagine, what's your younger daughter's name? I'm sorry, I can't remember right now.
Chloe.
Say one time. Chloe. Okay.
Chloe.
So Chloe comes home from kindergarten. And she comes home from kindergarten and she's like, Mommy, Sally was mean to me. And instead of saying Sally's a horrible human being or trust God or, instead of making Sally wrong, we just sit and we, tell me what happened. And we let them tell their story and their eyes are welling up with tears. And you say, tell me about your tears. And we just, we give them attunement. So first of all, we give a child attunement in their big feelings. Right. That's all. To me, that's the first step. It's not just saying hello is the example, but underneath the hello is the energy of I am here.
Which is what we did do with her when she was young.
Okay.
And that's part of why now at 16, she's like this like monster who's like
Probably knows what
self-actualized.
right? Okay, so we're all doing it in midlife, which is better late than never. All right, so
Yeah.
this is the same thing for us. Is we can, there used to be a time when if I were really able to remember and had a big sticky note, I might start every single one of I start my group coaching sessions all with a check-in, right? Same thing when I do events. And if we were to do, what does your head say? What does your heart say? What does your body say? Just three quick little words. Like, can you imagine moving around the world really clear, knowing what your head says, what your heart says, and what your body says?
Yeah, it's wild to even.
It's wild to consider, but if it was as automatic as tying your shoe because you had practiced so many times, then what?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think I am getting there in
Yeah.
listening to my body. Like
Yes.
I really do think that I'm pretty. Even this morning, my walk before we were here, my husband was like, "Oh, my tinnitus has been gone, but it's back." Like my tinnitus, just like the second his jaw tightened and his ears rang, that was
Yeah.
vocalized.
Right.
So I do think that I'm having a lived experience of being a lot more aware of like, oh my gosh, my body, my hips tight. I wonder what.
Right.
I hear
And
that.
learning that I'm going to overlay this with your travels. I know you spent some time in Germany before y'all were in Australia, right? And I imagine the same way I speak Spanish when I'm in Mexico, it's part Spanish, part English, and sometimes the
Yeah.
sentences are mixed up, right? You're combining languages and you're learning both to speak and listen to German as you're having the lived experience of updating your
Yeah.
language experience and knowledge. So this is like that in the sense that you're updating the communication lines between your head, your body, your heart, not only you with them, but now with those three together.
Right.
Okay. And listen, 20 years ago, when I first started coaching, I would ask clients, have you ever had a time when you knew something in your head, but you behaved differently? And every single one of them said yes. So this is absolutely universal. And
Right.
it's that skill. Like, no one ever taught us the same way, like, oh, you're thirsty, this is what we do when we're thirsty. Or if we have to pee, there's a point in potty training where the idea is to get the kid to let you know before they have to pee so we can go to the bathroom. Same kind of
Yeah.
thing. But we haven't been tuned into that, because when somebody, and this is just one example, somebody says, oh, you hurt, trust God, what does that do from the neck down?
It turns it off.
It
Right.
turns it
Like
off.
it was yeah, it didn't exist. When I was
So
like in the,
yeah,
yeah.
imagine saying that, and let's use, I don't mean to be, this is not foul, it's just bodily function, but we ingest in the world food and drink, and we process it, and then we discharge it, correct? Okay.
Yep.
We process experiences and we digest it thinking wise, and we digest it with our body. And if something like that comes in and shuts it off, where is it living now? If it has not been able to process and discharge through your body.
Yeah. It gets like stuck in your
Okay.
stomach then.
Okay. And so we say, where are you stuck? Right. So thank you for coming to Science 101 lesson about this thing that particularly religion steals from us. It
Yeah.
does. It
It's
steals self-trust.
yeah.
And I personally think that Jesus would want us to trust ourselves. I think that's the dogma of religion. That's a whole nother conversation.
Sure.
But just to notice that with sobriety and self-attunement, instead of, I
Yeah.
should know this, my body should catch up.
Yeah, and I
Right?
think like compassion for
Yeah.
the learning this now. Because
Yeah.
I like it is, I think this is something I get stuck on, is like that I should have figured this out sooner or whatever. But if I'm honest, I
Right. Yeah.
think
How could you know?
I know there's people that don't get to this until further on, so that's silly.
We don't even have to compare. The fact is, like, this is what is coming up. This is what is sprouting in the garden of your life to learn. I personally love it. Like, I'm out here throwing seeds and doing my own and throwing seeds. This shit is glorious to me because it solves, for so many years I was like, productivity coach, let me help you make money. And this was the stuff that actually really helped, including the make the money. So coming back to your throat, and I want you to just let it know, thank you for waiting for us while we did a little mini science lesson. But I wanted there to be some understanding that this is not, so that's the other thing that capitalism and society has taught us to internalize, take personally, and own personally all the struggles we have, instead of realize that this is a systemic thing. The systems don't want you trusting yourself. And I mean all the systems. All the isms.
Yeah. And that hits, I just, because of my experience living in multiple countries, like I understand that on a level that's a little bit deeper when you get to like experience different systems and then you see the same things everywhere.
Because what happens if you don't trust yourself and you get stressed? What do we do? Where do we source our power? I buy shit. Okay. And if you shut down, you're not resisting, right? Like, I have a need and I don't know how to meet that need. So I'm going to buy something from Amazon that makes me feel good, or I'm going to drink a bunch of wine, or
stop that.
Right.
I eat sugar.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. So just compassion for, like, we don't even realize how many. Now, listen, there's a whole bunch of us who have coping mechanisms that are societally accepted too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you're one of those. I know you are, just I do know enough about you. So if we come back to this throat and just give it some loving attention and say, I notice your tightness. And I'd like to get to know you so that we can be on the same page. And when you're ready, we'll move from protective mode to creative mode.
Yeah. That's really fascinating.
Yeah, what's coming up?
But just how quickly I'm like, oh, I have so if I'm in this world where I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm like at baby learning level and I'm feeling like I don't know what to believe or what to think, but I've got like this really great red flag, or like not red flag, like a marker, like an indicator, like when there's snow. You live in Texas, maybe not.
I know it's not. Sometimes I've lived in snowy areas before.
We have flood poles. So like on certain roads, there's these poles with markers with so you could know the water level before you drive on it. And I feel like I just kind of had a vision of this being that.
Yeah.
Like a tool, like a not measuring, but just like an indicator light.
Yes. So all of these feelings, sensations, blocks have information for us, but we have been taught to silence, shove, push away. So we're going to flip to compassion and curiosity. And it's so funny because so many times, actually, let me walk you through this instead of telling you about it. So I want you to check in with the throat, and I want you to ask the throat, how old do you think I am? Don't ask it. I want you to ask it how old it thinks you, Colleen, are, and trust whatever comes up.
It feels like I'm really old.
Okay. So your throat thinks you're really old.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So I want you to ask your throat in this energy, how old were you when it got its job to protect you?
It feels like it feels like I'm having a hard time seeing past right now.
Okay. That's okay. Tell me about right now. There's no right or wrong. We're just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It feels like I just met a new friend.
It feels like what?
You know, like I just met a new friend. Like,
Yes,
yeah,
you did
like
just meet a new friend, right? It's kind of like, oh, you're here. That's why, okay, right? And you meet a new friend and you start asking questions. Tell me about you. So let's try that one. Tell me a little bit about you. What would you like to tell me? And see what it says.
I feel like it's definitely like, oh, okay, like yeah, no, I like it's been watching me for a long time, and it's like this like sort of like protective force has been in the background.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today you've just kind of established a new, not just a new awareness of a
Hmm.
part, but a new connection on a more connect, like literally. And this is one of the things you said that you loved about the event that you facilitated, the support for the caregivers, right? Connection. You made
Yeah.
connection. You didn't just know about this part. You didn't just know about the block. You made literally an attuned connection with that part of you. And you've just
Yeah.
begun. Okay. Yeah. Your job going forward with this part is attune and curiosity, not to teach it,
Yeah.
not to boss it. It doesn't need a parent, it doesn't need a mother. It just needs you to understand it. And what will happen naturally is it, there's a few certain questions you can ask, but if you just stay in curiosity, tell me about you. What are you afraid of? What are you protecting? Right?
It's so
What,
fascinating
yeah.
to be able to look back and see how it's been trying to scream at me. Um, for a long time, I'd have like really bad
Yeah.
muscle spasms right here. I had
Mm-hmm.
I had a tumor right here.
Mm-hmm. So ask it.
Um,
Tell me about the screaming and
yeah,
see what it says.
yeah. It was really trying to protect me. Like,
Hmm.
it's like it has
Yeah.
wisdom as much as it thinks that I'm old. It's so much older
Yeah.
and
Okay.
wiser.
Yeah.
And just sorry, I'm just getting the answer to that question a few minutes ago.
That's okay.
Um, yeah, I'm really like have a sense that it's like a like a great grandmother,
Okay.
but like
So
this
this
like
is
more like
interesting
sort of
here.
ancient wisdom. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I'd like to do, now that you see and sense ancient grandmother or great great grandmother, or not great great, but ancient grandmother, ancient wisdom, I want you to bring money and business. Like just bring this little slide in that says money and business and tell me how the throat responds.
It gets tight.
Okay. Yeah. So here's what's so beautiful about ancient wisdom,
Yeah.
right? In ancient wisdom, great great grandmother, there weren't life and caregiver coaches. They had more like they had different systems of support.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. From your heritage, what do you know about support for caregivers, people? Like if a mom had a sick baby, how did the community, and I'm talking like 3, 4, 5, 6 generations ago.
Right. Like there was like these multi-generational
Okay.
interwoven communities where everything worked together. And this has been like something that like to my core, like this is like a thread that I've seen because I don't have family. Like I'm the one who left and blew
Yeah.
up my connection because I needed
Mm-hmm.
to because it was
Mm-hmm.
toxic.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, We also live in
But
a different, like, society is
build
massively different.
right, like we need
Go
to
ahead.
build new structures that work for what we have now.
Right. Okay. And then
Yeah.
also in the context of like doing our best right now to maintain connections and made family and all that other stuff, we live in the system of needing to earn money.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, the great great grandmothers inside of me did not need to earn money because
Right.
whatever the communal system and family system provided for her needs, and she provided other things. That
Mm-hmm.
system does not exist anymore.
Right.
So, what I would like to, I'm not telling your parts they're wrong. We want to update them. Do they know there's fax
Yeah.
machines? Right? Like we have
No.
fax machines. We
Yeah. Yeah.
have
Yeah.
jobs, right? There are positions in life and work that never, there are Rett syndrome biologist researchers that go to work
Yeah.
and their job, right? That didn't exist for these wise women. So,
Right.
what we need to do, right? My hypothesis is we need to take the ancient wisdom and update it with our current lived practical systems. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to see how your throat feels, about being open to understanding that some of the structures are different and we'd like to move forward with wisdom within the structures of 2025.
Yeah. So like my throat definitely feels more open, but I'm having like a pang in my stomach, like a
Okay,
sharp
perfect.
in my
Perfect.
gut.
Okay, so
Yeah.
check in with your gut.
But this is definitely like more like brown, not black. This is more porous.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that like complicates this that I
Yeah.
am working through that I need to remember. So like when I lived in Austria, it is socialism and like capitalism isn't everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's it's weird to be in a place of like updating my information around this
Mm-hmm.
when what I know to be true is that it doesn't work the same everywhere and I'm not quite
Right.
sure where I'm going to be.
Right.
So like
Yeah, it
I
brings in
think
an extra layer of uncertainty.
yeah, there's just a lot of uncertainty with that,
Yeah.
which okay.
And we don't have to leave it ambiguous. Okay. So you may not be able to know exactly, but the fact is, even if you move back to Europe from Australia, wherever you land, right, you're going to need some income. And you're going to need that income to work for you in certain ways.
Right. It's hard. It's so hard. I've never needed an income and I don't know that I really do though. Like I as a person who's partnered um and enjoys very little, right? Like I there's a very real part of me that really wants little and just to have a very simple life. Like I don't want I think this is where part of the struggle comes from.
You can have a simple life and still make money. So you don't have to be a hoarder of money. So listen, this is not
Yeah.
also about what you earn. charging helps some people.
That's true. And that's yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a hypothetical, and it's not your responsibility in that way, but you're also showing your daughter, okay, right? So far I've been supported, but what, like, I have to tell my parts. Like, these are the ways we're supported. These are the ways I have to support myself. And having a health scare, you've had a child with a massive, expensive disability. And
Yeah.
depending on the services we have, right? Like, there's no guarantee. And now it depends. If you're choosing, there's like somebody, her name's Amanda Palmer, I think. And she goes around the world and she's like, I need a place to stay and I need dinner tonight. And I'm going to do a comedy set. I don't know what the update, but that is her life path of choice. But you came to me saying, I'd actually
Yeah.
here's the other thing. I want to give you permission to have a small practice. You do not have to be the CEO. You do not have to be an entrepreneur. You are allowed to have a small solo business, a company of one,
Yeah.
a small coaching practice. And you're allowed to earn an income that will do two things. Well, it'll do a lot more than two. You tell me, what will income do for your business?
I don't know what income would do for a business. Like, it, like, I like, I mean, I don't know. It would be, I think having an income would take some pressure off my husband, but he's not
Okay,
my first concern.
I want you to stay on the business for a second, because this sometimes, so here's another thing about being a new business owner. I did not grow up wanting to run a business. I grew up wanting to be a wife and mom and a missionary and adopt 5 kids and I wanted the whole Christian evangelical thing. Says the woman who's never been pregnant and now has a giant empty space in her womb. I became a business owner on September 3rd, 2 weeks before my husband at the time left. And I walked into an organization learning how to do shit that I never anticipated learning how to do. Because I never knew it was a choice when I was 17 or 14. And there are things that you can learn. So in the same way you're learning coaching skills, able to learn. Now, you will not be able to learn if you keep saying, I'm horrible at this, I'm horrible at this. You can say, I'm new at this. That's my invitation.
What's funny is that when I was 17, I was very adept at business. I had my Series 6 to sell mutual funds when I was 18.
Okay.
Like, I was in banking. I was right. Like, if I'm honest, I probably, like, you know how some people should be moms. That's not me. Like, I am more naturally geared toward business, but then I was made to feel shitty for that. And so, like, that was
welcome to your first hire. Bring back that version of you and hire her and start working with her, right? Another relationship.
Yeah. Right? I was like, I was a finance major.
Oh, gee. So this is what's so fun. When we start poking around, we start seeing, I mean, listen, all the blocks feel really loud, but we start poking around and we start sorting things on the table. Like, it's like pulling everything out of the closet, right?
Yeah.
And I want you to notice, listen, I have been doing this for over 20 years and I still have blocks. Okay. The blocks are some of my coworkers. The doubt is it's like right next to me all the time. It never goes away. And I don't say that to discourage you. I say that so that we learn how to befriend, lead and love the doubting parts of us. But you know who sits on the other
Right.
side? Right? Is the part that's like, dude, we know how to do this. Yeah, we're a little rusty, but we can figure it out.
Well, and I'm very aware of like when I stopped finance and how I
Mhm.
got out of it. And like my parts, I stopped being in finance because my parents were yelling at me.
Yeah, because someone was a jerk to you.
Yeah, well, right. So society. Um, so I think probably what I need most is
Mhm.
to kind of go back and work with that like 17, 18-year-old and her parts. And I think the real block is the block that stopped me then. You know what I mean? Like when I got out of that and I switched to culinary arts. I like dropped out of
Mhm.
college and went to culinary school.
Mhm.
Um, and I probably need to spend like some like compassionate time with with the things I was afraid of then and didn't have the tools to.
And maybe she needs to be able to feel, express, almost as if it happened today, to write down in a journal, here's what happened. Here's what
Yeah.
I need to, here's the feelings I need to process and discharge in a safe, appropriate place.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to say to her, all right, would you like to step into 2025 and let's figure this out together? You're a nice boss. You're a different kind of boss. You will never do that to her.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's so fascinating. But I can definitely see like that's where it's that messaging that I was getting when I was 17 that is
Yeah,
really what activates what stops me.
sure. Yep. And I want to I want to invite you to shift your perspective a little bit. There's a big story here and there's a big path going forward, or a path, right? There's a story and a path, but the story doesn't
Mm.
completely block the path. So, yes, part of this is ongoing inner work.
Yep.
Okay. And part of it is going to be you stepping forward and charging and experimenting with prices. You cannot, I'm telling you this, if you wait until all this is healed, you will never make a penny in your business. And I know the purpose is not to make a, a penny, and then it's not a business. So this is something like a business has a, there's a, those of us who are doing work we love. Some people do work because they love making money. Some of
Mm-hmm.
us are monetizing work we love. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful thing and a tricky thing. It's a gift and it's not easy because you will love it. And even when you're not making money or you're making money, but the business,
Uh,
so with everything you do, logic or I'm sorry, facts, there's like a chart, facts, data, and emotions, right? So these stories with this young one are loaded with emotions. And it sounds so far that you actually want to start a small coaching practice that at least sustains itself. Listen, my business
yeah.
used to cost me $7,000 a month to run. It's about $2,000 a
Wow.
month now, and I am bare bones. It ain't free to use this
Right.
software. It ain't free of my time. It ain't
Yeah.
free to have my amazing bookkeeper, the person who does do the numbers well, right? Like, so please know that there's exchanges happening so that you can support your clients, right? Those things cost money. It's like running a household. It's like adulting. That
Mm-hmm.
water's not free. Yeah.
It's like I can notice my throat being this
Uh-huh.
like little old grandma who just wants to like
Mhm.
meet people for coffee, and it's like that's adorable and well intended, but I can see like
It,
no, but that
if
worked
you're
200 years ago.
able, well, and listen, it worked for you the last however many years. As far
Yeah,
as like the job of taking care of Claire and the way that works, where you get paid to be a caregiver, having your husband's salary, yes, it worked 200 years ago, right? Somebody would come in and have healing and, we call it a coaching session or a therapy session now, and they would leave bread so that you would have something to eat. We don't live in that
right.
anymore. You have a little bit more support in the
Yeah,
socialist governments because, there some of your more basic needs are met, and this is what is so beautiful. I mean, listen, I have a lot of friends who live in London. I have friends that live all over the world. And they all need to make money, even though they don't have to worry that they're going to go bankrupt if they get cancer. But
right.
they still, right? It's still, money's still a part of the exchange. So if you
Yeah,
decide anytime soon that, you know what, I'm just going to, this is my gift to people. And I want to plant a little orange flag of caution as you are somebody who was trained to give your labor as a woman,
yeah.
as an ex-evangelical,
Mm-hmm.
as a caregiver. Listen, you wouldn't have done anything different with Claire because she's your daughter. You wouldn't have. But those others were
Right.
systems. Like that was a luxury that you got to be the head of the caregiving, right? I know y'all had probably other support, that kind of stuff, but that was your hub. You were the CEO of that
Yeah,
project. Okay.
yeah, 100%.
And this is not like that. You are choosing something that you feel drawn to put on the commerce market. It doesn't have to be capitalism. My friend Jay Winia taught me, because I was really struggling with the exploitation. I have no doubt
Yeah,
that you will never exploit any of those people. And Colleen, you do
yeah,
a disservice to yourself, to your ancestors, to your daughter, to your clients, to yourself, to your husband, if you exploit yourself.
right. Yeah, I can see that. I just wrote down as you were talking that I can charge and be part of some people's solutions. Like
Yes.
charging can still, there's nothing, that doesn't necessarily impede or inhibit.
No, no.
Yeah. It's just, and I know like for myself, like I love when, um, like there's a coach that I've worked with that I've paid her and
Yeah.
I've said
It's,
this is
it's a
some
good
investment.
exchange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is well worth it. Yeah. So I
We
think,
put, we
yeah,
put, yeah, we put money. I know this has been really thick. We've done like 4 coaching sessions in one session. And right. So just take a moment and pause, because I didn't just want to do the inner work. I really did want to bring that business bubble back in, because I knew it would bump up with that sweet. I trusted that sweet throat part, and even the little belly part, who just, it's almost like it punched you. It was like I was nauseous and you had to bring that back in. And the
yeah,
reason why I did it is because I trust, this is not blowing smoke. I do know you enough. You are not wild to me but I do know you enough to have watched some of the things that you've been able to create, some of the things you've been able to endure. I trust that that little belly part, I trust that that 18-year-old girl that had that horrible experience, I trust that the throat part, that they're up for growth. That they're up for well-being.
I think they're craving growth. I think like I can tell that they're like ready for a new script. Like and that's, I'm just on the edge, and it's been a while since we've done that.
Yeah.
And we've never done it just because we wanted to. It's always been forced. Like it's always been like back up against a wall growth. But this is just like in front of an open field growth. And so
that's the difference between well, and you have the luxury of going slowly. So there's the inner work and then outer work. And the outer work is going to bring up more inner work. So good news, you have a never-ending supply. And it's not all inner work and then you do the outer work. And it's not all outer work and then you miss the inner work. So I want to finish by giving you kind of a little, like, so when you recognize and connect with a part, what is it afraid of? If it stopped protecting you, right? Because ultimately we're building relationships with these parts so that they will relax. Some of them may want an updated job. Some of them may want to retire, so that you can, what happens is when these parts, like your throat gave you a little bit of an experience of softening, what happens is, and it didn't necessarily happen today, but the effect of doing this is it opens up creativity and confidence for taking those steps. And so instead of being protector-led in survival mode, which you've lived a lot of your life in, especially around taking care of Claire, right? Now you have the opportunity to shift from protector-led to you lead the parts and create from the inside out.
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the questions might be something like, and listen, it doesn't always happen immediately, but like, if you didn't have to do your job, would you like to retire? Would you like to be a part of my creative team with your skills? I did that with a client this morning. We updated the skill, like, oh, here's the skills. This is what they were used for in the past. We gave her a 2025 new job.
Right.
She got a promotion.
I got to figure out what this little old grandma's going to do.
Oh, I think she's going to love it. I don't know for sure, but I have a fascinating, I mean, just imagine this really old person, like, tell me about these computers. What can I do? Like,
that's exactly the yeah. I'm going to go crochet.
So you have a handful of like your little team, right? She's going to be super excited. Oh, I can buy some of this fancy yarn from a store, right? Like, there's so many things. Yeah. And so if you will walk away from this with a realization that there are parts, yes, they're showing up screaming at you, but you know how to make a connection and get curious. And then together, from the information you gather from them, you can decide you and them can decide what's best for you. That's your inner collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to close my mouth. You take a breath. Thank all those parts for engaging with us today. Going to drink a lot of water because I did a lot of information in here too. But what feels true to you going forward, especially around money? I feel almost mean, kind of really bringing that right back up here, but I trust you.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, that's why I wanted to talk, right? I think it's been really good to develop this awareness around how much work I need to do around money. like I know the story. I know, like, I'm like, and I've been focusing on healing so much, and it just hasn't been in that direction, right? Like, um, and so as much as I'm like mildly annoyed, because I would really like a healing break, like, I think the biggest thing, the parts are really inviting me to go slow. The reminder that I can have a small business, right? Like, I just that I know that I have everything in me that I need.
Sure.
And that's just hard to believe. That one I can't get up here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because we were
I
taught.
haven't.
That's the thing. We're taught you're nothing. You're nothing without God. And I believe that whatever God is made us all of this brilliance, all of this complexity, all of this to get to know.
Yeah. 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 Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of my former friends, not former friends, former coaches, friend used to say, money's just like potatoes. Just think of it as potatoes. Because every once in a while, we need to pull money out of the healing bucket and just let it be effing potatoes.
Yeah. Well, and
Right?
the other thing that I'm really taking away is that I really do love this work, and I believe in it, and I want to do it, and that I need to take care of myself so that I can. I think
Yeah.
I really heard your point about emotional. I don't know how you said it, emotional labor or something.
Yeah. Well, it is emotional exploitation. That's the piece
Exploitation.
that we don't like, the exploitation. And you're the kind of person that will never exploit your audience. You'll exploit
No,
yourself.
I'll do it
Ask me how.
myself. 100%.
Yes, same here. Been there, done that. And then guess what happens? Your body revolts when
Right.
we over
Yeah.
care for everybody else and under care. So, right, like it's funny because at one point it was like, oh, I want to create this with money from my coaching business. And now with my 3 prescriptions and a prism, I'm like, okay, I need money for new glasses, $1,000 because the prescription. I use the same. Bill's like, you don't need to go to that, and I'm like, it's just the prescription. It's not even the frames, right? Like my teeth. I have veneers because I had a bike accident, and that's not covered by socialism. That, like, I don't
Right.
need it today, but it's on the horizon. What happens if I lose some functionality? Yes, I'm still here in capitalism, but like, I'm not thinking about luxury. I'm like, I gotta take care of my physical health, my primary needs, my vitamins that aren't covered by insurance. And not from a place of scarcity, but it's almost like, okay, bring the potatoes. I mean, listen, I would love to have my wish list, not from Amazon, but like my wish list, and someone comes to my front porch and I give a coaching session and they leave me with my hormones, or they bring, a new piece of glasses, or they say, I covered your internet bill. That would be delightful to me. But the system we
Right.
live in now, right? So I think that's going to be a super fun conversation with your wise ancestor and bring her into 2025, whatever country you're living in, and 2 or 3 possibilities for what you think might be going on 20 years from now, which I
Well, or
realize is
even just,
impossible, but
I think the I have to start with recognizing that I have needs and that I exist. That's
oh,
some larger,
yeah, that's some deep
but
shit. Yeah, it's good work. And I have small, it's good work. It's huge. But think about the more you recognize your needs, how many people, and right now you're motivated by helping other people. So that's why I'm bringing it in. And it is
yeah,
enough to be motivated by your needs, but we'll let
my
those walk
greatest need
together for a while.
my greatest need right now is for connection. I know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
in a few years I will need more money, but like it's hard to even think about prioritizing money when I feel like I'm dying of loneliness.
Yeah.
Just because I live somewhere where I don't see people.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you
So
so much for sharing your heart and these stories.
Thank you. This was really helpful. I feel like it's nice to finish and not feel overwhelmed by how much we unraveled. You know, like I feel like I don't even need to give everything we talked about more energy. Like I can like let it fade and the different parts are gonna come back when I need them. But
I
it's got
love that
like
trust.
I've got a few
You got a little
key
spots
things
in the
that
garden. We came out here with a rake and we kind of raked around and we dug a little bit and we raked around. But it's just like I do with my wildflowers, right? I just kind of move the dirt around and then I know you'll know. I love that self-trust.
yeah.
You're on your way. It's going to be fun to watch your beautiful practice grow for your clients and for yourself.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
I'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.